Welcome to another episode of Ingrid's World. I'm your host, Ingrid Paris-Hicklin. On this show, you will meet the professionals that make up superior options for seniors. They are a single resource using a comprehensive approach to financial, housing, health, transition, estate, and elder management services. Meet Michele Wright, an AV-rated attorney by Martindale-Hubbell. She's also a CPA with brokerage and public accounting experience. Her legal practice in Northern Virginia is concentrated in the areas of trust and estate planning, wealth managers, tax, retirement planning, and estate and trust administration. Included in that segment is Ernie Castro, a reverse mortgage professional with American Advisors Group, the largest reverse lender in the U.S. He has been exclusively originating reverse mortgages since 2007 and has helped over 400 homeowners in the D.C. metropolitan area. On the following segment, we'll meet Jim Sullivan, a residential remodeler with specialization in helping people of all ages stay in their homes safely and productively. And with Jim is Andrea Olsen, an aging-in-place consultant that helps clients learn what they need to do to prepare their home for aging in process. She works with a contractor to help them redesign their current space and selecting products that will be installed in their home. She can bring motorized window treatments to any room in the house. Rounding out that segment is Ellen Hughes from Assisting Hands Home Care that offers personalized home care services to support the elderly and the disabled. Our last segment includes wonderful people, Tom, as well as Matrona. Tom's going to specialize in speaking about residential and investment real estate services to buyers and sellers of all ages. His real passion is the senior market. And our last guest is Matrona from Oasis Senior Advisor, a free senior housing placement services. They help seniors and their families find the best possible senior housing and services based on their needs. They guide you to every step of the process until they find the right place to call home. So let's get started with our first guest. Pleasure to have you, Michele.
Thank you for inviting me.
And Ernie.
Thank you, Parent.
Well, we now just talking about, parents. What happens when I'm dealing with a parent who is not ready to, that may have signs of dementia, but not ready to assign their assets over?
Well, unfortunately, in our society, everybody is entitled to make as many bad decisions as they want, whether they're financial or they're medical.
Wow.
And without a power of attorney in place, you have the family scrambling to go into court and have their parent declared incompetent.
You have to go into court?
You do.
Oh my gosh.
There is no other way. If they will not voluntarily sign a power of attorney over, you need to go through that process, and it is emotionally fraught with landmines.
Exactly.
It blows the whole family up most times.
So this show is going to stop the landmines. So what are the financial papers I need to have in place?
Well, there are 4 legal documents at a very minimum that everybody needs.
Okay.
One is a will for after you die.
Okay.
And the other have to do with what happens during the period of incapacity. So a power of attorney for finances and a medical power of attorney. It also helps if somebody gives you some idea of what they want done in the end stages of life or not done in the end stages of life. And that's called a healthcare directive in Virginia.
Exactly. So it's not something that, it's something that we should, put in place way ahead of the game.
Oh, absolutely.
So here it is. So suppose, I want to give we want to give our things to our heirs, but, can I just put it down that, they're going to inherit everything and...
Well, you can do that through a will. Okay. Some people like to do it through putting their name on a bank account with their child, which has some really adverse tax consequences. Not only with regard to income tax and gift taxes, but should that parent need to qualify for Medicaid, it is a transfer of assets that's frowned upon.
Are you kidding me? Frowned upon. I had no idea. So Ernie, let's now talk about the reverse mortgage.
Sure.
So who should be considering a reverse mortgage?
Well, folks that are approaching retirement or in retirement, I think it's a lifestyle enhancement tool.
I love that.
For many people out there, the biggest asset is their home.
Right.
And we are living longer lives, faced with many challenges during aging. I think it's very difficult to ignore your biggest asset, and you can tap into that asset through a reverse mortgage and use those funds for the purposes that you desire.
So, so how do you qualify for a reverse mortgage?
Well, it's really quite simple. If you're a married couple, at least one of you has to be 62. You have to own a home, and it has to be your primary residence. Now, you can own more than one home, but you can only designate one as your primary residence. So those are the simple qualifications. And as we get into the loan, you must qualify financially. Basically, we have to demonstrate that you have enough income to be able to pay for your real estate taxes and homeowners insurance, take care of your consumer debt, keep the lights on and put food on the table, and have a certain amount left over to enjoy your lifestyle.
So I had to ask you this question. We've heard so many bad things about reverse mortgages.
Right.
Can you give us some information about it?
Sure. Now, the reverse mortgage has really only been around since 1989. So everyone I talk to has been through that. They've lived through those times. The federal government stepped in and started administrating the program in 1999. So for those first 10 years, there was no oversight. So there were some unpleasant things happening, and people were actually taking advantage of seniors. But since the government has stepped in the last 20 years, there have been so many improvements made to the program that it's, in my opinion, the safest loan program there is out there. And one of the things that people seem to think is that if you take a reverse mortgage out, you're selling your home to the bank for whatever money that you get in the reverse mortgage, and that is not true.
That's not
You
true?
always maintain the title to your home throughout the entire time.
Oh my goodness.
So that's something to really keep in mind, because that's a common fallacy out there.
It is.
Yeah, that's why I'm so glad we're doing this show.
Right.
Excellent, excellent. So, Michele, if you leave our viewers with one word, what do you want them to do?
I want them to prepare. Death is not optional, it's inevitable.
We're all going to go there.
We're all going to go there, and the question is, do you want to contain and retain control of decisions as long as you can by putting trusted people in place to help you
Ernie,
prepare?
What's your word?
My word is, if you have a valuable asset such as your home, consider taking advantage of tapping into that equity and using that to enhance your lifestyle, whether it's creating additional tax-free income on a monthly basis, or just improving your monthly cash flow, or taking nice vacations every year.
Well, I had to thank you both for being here. That was amazing. Great, segment. So thanks again for being on
Thank you so
Ingrid's
much
World.
for inviting
Thank
us.
you, Ingrid.
Coming up next, we're going to be talking with Jim, with Andrea, and Ellen Hughes. More information to share and more for you to know about. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Andrea, great to have you, Jim.
Thanks for having us.
And Ellen. Well, we really want to continue this conversation about aging in place and how do we do this. And I want to start off with, I'll start off with you, Jim, about how do you make our home a place where we can kind of stay there until we age out, or as my mother would say when she was moving to an underground apartment, the burial site. Kind of weird, but that's what she said. Okay, how do we do that?
There are some very general things that we can do to make a home safer for anybody.
Yes.
But particularly as we're aging, to remove the tripping hazards in the doorways and on the thresholds, to improve the lighting, to add places where we can physically support ourselves, be it grab bars or rails in the places where it's appropriate. So those are some very common universal things. That
Universal things, and I like what you're saying. So you're talking about accommodations. So when I'm thinking about those accommodations, I should be thinking about what areas am I really considering?
Well, the two biggest areas of the home that we tend to work in are the kitchen and the bathroom. For a couple of reasons, we spend a lot of time in the kitchen, but it's also the places where we're most likely to encounter hazards or danger of getting burned or falling or getting cut. So we want to put everything that we need within easy reach. We want to enhance the lighting, as we mentioned earlier.
Lighting is critical.
So that we're not tripping on things or falling on things or hurting ourselves because we can't see well.
Exactly. And so what does an aging in place consultant do?
Well, it's easy for us to be able to come in and work with the client, go through each one of the rooms and decide where do they live, how do they live, in their rooms, and how we can better use the space. So in some cases, people get to the point where they really can't use steps and they don't want to do a chair.
Right.
So we talk about, well, let's move the main sleeping area, their master bedroom, to the first floor. And can we convert a room to do that? They might have a powder room, and we're going to maybe add a shower to it, so that way they can be on that first floor and not worry about the steps and such. And that's where we then would bring in somebody like Jim, a contractor.
So my question is, so actually that is possible. People will say have a powder room and
Yes. And then we can transform it into just a full bath, and we have to think through about whether or not down the road are they going to need a walker? So do we need to widen the doorways? Do we need a seat in one of their showers? Whether it's a first floor shower or another shower in the space. Grab bars, like Jim was saying, so that way they have the mobility to use the spaces and not feel like they're going to fall, because that's one of the things that as we get older, we're always, apprehensive.
I love what you're saying, because I'm thinking of it, for myself. I want to stay in my home. I know my community.
Yes.
But then the other part is that I'm hoping you can help me with this. Is that what about the services that I might need? I mean, how do I avoid the nursing home? First of all, nursing homes, I was looking at the cost. It's like the same. Well, it's more than my mortgage.
Right.
Very true.
How do you do this?
So the home care agency is going to come in. They're going to evaluate your situation to see what you need. They can assist you with your activities of daily living, like your bathing, your dressing, transferring like from a bed to a wheelchair or chair, grooming, continence care, feeding, things like that. And then there's also your instrumental activities of daily living, things like just meal prep, laundry, some light housekeeping, even walking your dog, taking you out on errands. Those are the types of daily activities that will help that person remain independent in their home and not potentially have to go to a nursing home.
Yeah, because the thing about it is that you don't want to, go to a nursing home, and great nursing homes that we've been very fortunate to have in our community. But if you have this, to me, it's no place like home.
Sure.
When I can stay in my own place. So how do you figure out where to go, in terms of figuring out how to consult this? What's the best advice? If someone's watching it, how do you figure out where to do your research?
Right. So a lot of the people that are doing the research are the children of the adults.
Exactly.
So you're looking at a lot of the folks that are like in my age. You can go 40s and 50s and 60s even. So a lot of them now are using the web. They do a lot of web searching. They use social media. But I also say, look at reviews, but I also say go and research home care companies not only that way, but ask friends, ask neighbors, ask your doctor, ask for referrals, see who has had a good experience.
Ask your doctor.
And That's my best recommendation. Is referrals are huge.
I see you're saying the same thing too.
Yes,
Is that
yes.
how you've?
Well, aging in place is a certification as well. So there's designers as well as contractors that are
there's
that
a
really,
certification.
yes, so they really understand what you need.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So you can go to the National Home Builders Association and look up aging in place specialists in your area, and the contractors and designers would be listed.
New
Yes.
information to me, and I'm sure to our viewers. So there's actually a group of those
Yes.
that are certified
That are certified in it.
contractors. What?
Yeah, you will often hear the term CAPS, which is
What
an
does that
acronym
mean?
for Certified Aging in Place Specialist.
What?
And we see that frequently in the home improvement industry, in the remodeling industry. And these are folks where we've taken the time to get the education on what the needs are of the aging community.
Right.
What are the best and most practical alterations to be made in a home, and how to do them, how to do them properly.
Wow, wonderful. I mean, because that's the whole thing is that, so you're, as a child, you're doing the research. It could be either for a loved one, it can be for anything, it can be for a spouse. My goodness, you just never know what you need. So, words of advice for our audience that's out there. What things do you want them to be concerned about? What they need to be?
Well, when
Word of
you're getting
advice.
ready, when you've decided that this is the house that you really want to stay in for long term, then really do consult with an aging in place certified person, because they're going to help you navigate through and make some choices as to how you can live in your house. And then, we'll bring in a contractor that's certified, that understands how to put it all together. And at that point, be able to do, little things at a time, as we go. But when you start remodeling your home, you should really think about the things that you should do while you're knowing that you're going to live there.
That you're going to live there. Jim?
I agree. Be proactive. Put a little forethought. Even today, if I'm speaking with a potential client about remodeling a bathroom, for instance, just for aesthetic reasons, they want to update it, make it more attractive. But let's also talk about modifications that maybe need to be made in the future, such as the supports behind the beautiful tile that you're going to put up, so that in the future you can put on a support bar, and make sure all the doorways are wide enough for down the road. So be proactive.
Love it. Ellen, what would you like to add?
Well, for home care, I'd say if at all possible, don't wait till it's an emergency. If you're getting into a situation where you're thinking about home care, call up several companies, interview them, talk to the owner if possible, see what their philosophy is, find out if their caregivers are contractors or if they're actual employees of the company. And then a lot of times with most home care agencies, you can even start with a minimum of maybe even 4 hours a day to just try out. So just pre-planning if possible, but we know that's not always possible.
Okay. Oh, fantastic. Well, I'd like to thank each of you for being
Thank
on the
you.
show.
Appreciate it.
Wealth
Thank
of
you, Ingrid.
information. I learned a lot without
That's great.
question. Well, welcome to the show.
Thank
Let
you.
me have you introduce yourself.
I'm Matrona Busch with Oasis-Senior Advisors, and I help seniors and their families understand the options and find assisted living and memory care and independent living to retirement communities.
Fantastic.
And I'm Tom Shipe. I am a realtor that specializes in the senior marketplace.
I'm very excited to have both of you here. And Tom, how long have you been a realtor?
17 years this month.
Tell us a little bit about your certification.
Well, the current certification as a senior real estate specialist is something that one goes out and gets, a realtor goes out and gets. if they're interested in developing the marketplace for themselves in the senior community, so that you have a better level of education and knowledge to work with the aging American population, whether they're buying, selling, or downsizing or refinancing.
Wow. So do you just work with seniors in terms of as a specialist in real estate?
Well, I am a specialist in the senior marketplace, but I work with all ages of people trying to buy and sell homes.
Is it a little bit unusual for to work with clients who say, I really want to, I never heard about them, I want to stay in my home, but you're going to work with me to be able to stay in my home? How does that work?
Well, that is unusual for a real estate agent to go talk to people about staying in their home or aging in place.
Yeah.
So I provide a conversation with them about doing that, meaning that talk to them about things that they may do to improve the safety or the comfort of their home. Like people trip over their pet more than anything else. Of course, we can't get rid of the pet, but we can get rid of the extension cord that runs across the floor to the lamp that's in the middle of the room. And we can get rid of the shelving that's down the side of the hallway that they keep leaning on. And as they get older and need more support, it falls, and so do they.
Wonderful. So, when is the best time to start looking for a place for senior residents? When's the best time?
Well, it's always better to plan ahead if you can,
Love it.
but so many of us don't take the time to do that, and so then an emergency comes up, an incident or event occurs health-wise, and then they're scrambling to look for a place. So whether they're planning ahead or it's an emergency, they should feel confident knowing they can go to individuals such as myself and our team here who can assist them with finding locations.
So what are the options for senior housing? What are some?
So there are a lot of options, and they keep evolving and changing. So you can start off by downsizing from your current home to an independent living retirement community, which is very active. And then you can move to assisted living if you need some assistance with the activities of daily living, like bathing and dressing and so forth. And then for those who suffer with some form of dementia, there are secure memory care communities that they can move into. And then of course there is also skilled long-term care or short-term rehab.
Oh my goodness, so there's so many various stages. I had no idea.
Yeah.
So it's not one size fits all.
Right, right. And so the communities are continually evolving to be able to accommodate individuals through all stages of life as we age.
Right, right. So when you think about it, Tom, what's kind of, let's say, the uniqueness of working with the senior population? What has been some of your experiences?
Well, the uniqueness of the population is they don't want to admit that they need help.
Right.
And also that they don't start soon enough in any of the categories that we've talked about here on the show today. But they do need to move quicker, but they don't. So that's part of the education and training that the SRES gives you, is the fact that you've got to help people with their decision. You've got to be very patient to work through it. It's totally different than trying to help somebody that's 25 years or 30 years old in buying or selling a property.
Right. It's a world of difference.
Right. A decision to move after they talk to anybody, myself or Matrona, they may sit around for 6 more months before they make up their mind.
And so what I'm hearing from you is that flexibility.
Right.
That it's not, let's say, you need to make a decision like that.
Exactly, because moving at any age is such a big decision. But as we age, it becomes more difficult to make that decision and make that move. So we want to give them the information that we can so that they make the right decision at the right time for them.
I have to tell you, Matrona, when I was doing the research on having you come, you really made my heart sing when you said that you would go with the client until they, what was it, until what?
And tour the communities with them. So
Yes.
help them make that decision, because again, moving is a big decision, and many times this might be the last move that they make, and we want to get it right. So it is the last move, and they're not continually looking for other alternatives. And so being able to go with them and help them understand and ask the right questions and make sure that they're making the right decision.
Matrona, you made my heart sing, and I said, where was she? Because I honestly went through this. I had to recruit, my best friend to come with me as I looked for care and services for my mom. And that was probably one of the hardest things I ever had to do in my life.
It's very overwhelming when you
okay.
start to
All right.
look at it and realize how many options, and even options you don't know about, are out there.
There you
So
go.
it's helpful to have someone that can help explain all of those options.
Wow.
And understand what you're looking for and what you need and where you want to be
Wow.
geographically.
So Tom, we have like 1 minute left, and what's that one word that you want our viewers out there to remember?
Well, I think it's important for them to talk to a realtor first, especially a senior real estate specialist like myself, simultaneously with bringing in some of the other services. If they decided that they wanted to move already, then talk to the realtor, talk to somebody like Matrona. Hopefully they've already got their life paperwork in order before they start doing all that. But definitely, get your realtor involved in the beginning of the process, not as the very last thing.
Matrona, what's your word?
I think it would be confidence, and knowing that regardless of how overwhelming it is and how stressed you are because of health issues going on or anything else going on, family crisis and things like that, that there are individuals that can help out and help get you through it. And I think that's really important for them to have confidence in knowing that moving forward.
Well, thank you, Matrona and Tom, for being on Ingrid's World. I'd like to thank all the guests for being on Ingrid's World and for the incredible information they did to help our community. Our quote this time is from Betty Friedan. Aging is not a loss of youth, but a new stage of opportunity and strength. Thank you for watching Ingrid's World, and don't forget to friend us on Facebook, follow Ingrid's World VA in Twitter and Instagram, and if you miss an episode, hey, guess what? Watch us on YouTube. Thanks for watching. I would like to thank Michele Wright, Wright Wealth Strategies, Ernie Castro, American Advisors Group, Jim Sullivan, Mako LLC, Andrea Olsen, FTC Interiors, Ellen Hughes-Assisting Hands Home Care, Tom Shipe from Long and Forces Realtors, Matrona Busch and Oasis-Senior Advisors. Businesses under Superior Options for Seniors, superioroptions.org, for underwriting this episode of Ingrid's World.